Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Ray and today we're finishing up our series on raised right. Okay, so if you have been following along for the past 2 weeks, we have been jumping into the brand Raised Right. I'm not going to get into all the specifics. You can check out those earlier videos, but basically it is a fresh food, human grade recipe brand. They've got cat food, they've got dog food, they've got puppy food, and we've just been evaluating that. So today we're going to go into the cats. So if you go to raisedrightpets.com, you click recipes, and then you click on cat. They've only got a couple cat recipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4 cat recipes. We are going to be using the information here. When you click the AFCO nutrient profile, we're not going to be using the guaranteed analysis because it's too much wishy-washy, and they've got this really nice, already compiled for us chart on dry matter basis. On the channel, we do use standards as published in Small Animal Clinical Nutrition. Feel free to peruse the textbook down in the description box. There is a link there for you, and you can research this to the hilt if you would like. But we use the standards as suggested in that textbook. Why? Because we all have to go off of something, and it cannot be off of our fantasies of unicorns and Care Bears and things like that. It has to be like actual data, right? That's the only way. That's the only way to stay focused and not get caught up in the marketing, which is a big thing with pet food. Why is it a big thing with pet food? Because it's easy to do, right? We all love our pets, so it's very easy for a marketer to take that love and manipulate it and twist it and use it for their desires. And so, that happens. It happens. That is, it happens. It does happen. And so we need to remove ourselves from that situation and look at a food for what it is. And what it is it's meant to be a nutritional avenue for our pets. Now there's some other things there, we do get joy from feeding our pets, and that stuff is important too, and seeing that your pet really loves its food and begs for its food and is a happy part of the day and do the happy dance. That's all wonderful too, and I want you to have that, but I want you to have, in addition to that, a nutritionally sound food. So you can have both things. Doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have both things. And so that's what we're searching for on this channel. And so this is how we're going to do it. We are going to use this chart here that I have compiled for you. I'm not listing actual numbers in this chart because all the foods for Raised Right have a caloric density that is outside of the standards. And so I've had to do some calculations and some, not higher powered math, but I had to do some math. I know a lot of you guys are not comfortable with the math department. And so I've done that kind of in the background for you. And I've compiled this chart, not putting the numbers in there because it's just too much to put all the conversions, and the chart would be really busy and it would defeat the purpose of this channel, which is to keep it simple. So I've done the hard work for you. If you want to know about those calculations, it is all in that textbook and you can read about it. And that is what I have done. And so this chart is taking the 4 foods from Raised Right that are for cats and showing you if they meet or they don't meet the expectations based on the parameters in Small Animal Clinical Nutrition. They are all the foods are formulated, and they were all formulated for the correct life stage as an adult. So this food is not for kittens. This food is meant to be fed to adult cats. So keep that in mind. They're all, again, that like they're frozen and you have to thaw them and feed them. So like that fresh food, that refrigerator food. They are all grain-free, and the dog food was all grain-free as well. Grain-free is not that important in cats, and people are like, well, yeah, cats are obligate carnivores. Of course they don't need grains. That's not what obligate carnivore means. That's, again, another word that has been twisted by marketing, and the actual meaning of the word has been so deranged for the general population that are not in the know. It's not your fault that you're not in the know. You're not expected to be in the know on all of these things. And it's really sad that marketers use that against you. The word obligate carnivore, as it pertains to cats, doesn't mean that they can't have grains and that grains cannot be used to make a final nutrient profile that's more beneficial. What it means is they cannot synthesize taurine, which is an amino acid. They cannot synthesize that. Their bodies cannot synthesize that from other amino acids. That's all it means. It doesn't mean they can't have grains, doesn't mean that grains aren't useful, doesn't mean that they cannot be utilized to make a diet better. It simply means from a physiological standpoint that they can't make taurine. They have to have meat to make the taurine. But that is irrelevant because the foods that we are providing either are supplemented with taurine for cats, or have the right amino, have meats in there that have the taurine in there to fulfill that. So obligate carnivore has nothing to do with grains. It simply has to do with taurine and the ability of the body to synthesize it or not. So if you didn't know that, now you know. You know what they say, knowledge is power. So now you have a little bit more power over the manipulative, marketing campaigns that are out there. So it's the fact that the food is grain-free. If they can make the final nutrient profile work, I'm happy. But if they can't make the final nutrient profile work because they're so focused on making it grain-free that they lost sight of the fact that sometimes utilizing grains allows you to have a better nutrient profile, then I'm not going to be happy. So we're going to see where that leads us. None of these foods are raw, which is really important to me because of health concerns, public health concerns, your health concerns for your pet. There's really no benefits to feeding raw. They've done tons of studies and they really can't find any benefit to a properly processed and a properly nutritionally formulated food. There's really no benefits to raw if you're doing all those other things properly. And then we're going to get into the nutrient profile. So right now we are up to 2 points. The pet food scoring system is a 10-point system. The closer you get to 10, the better you are. 7, 8, 9, or 10 is pretty darn good food. And then you can start worrying about some of the other fluffy stuff. If it scores less than a 7, it's like there are definitely better options out there maybe to consider, who's actually put a little bit more emphasis on nutrition versus some other things. So that's how the scoring system goes. So we're up to a 2. Protein on the first 3, so the turkey, the chicken, and the turkey and pumpkin pate, those 3 diets actually were exactly the same. And so you're going to see that the nutrient profiles were exactly the same. Excess protein on those 3. And what does that mean for a cat? I'm really not happy about excess protein because cats are really prone to kidney disease just in general as a species. It is their biological makeup, and they're prone, just like certain species. Certain birds are prone to gout. Certain ferrets are prone to diabetes. It's just cats are prone to kidney disease. That is a species specific concern. And so there's no reason, and it's not beneficial in my mind as a veterinarian, to excessively provide protein to a cat. Yes, again, obligate carnivores. Let's remember we just talked about what that actually means. Doesn't mean that they have to have more meat. It means that they simply need the right amount of meat to make the taurine. Okay? So it does not mean they need more because they're obligate carnivores. There is a right amount, and Raised Right has gone beyond the right amount, at least these first 3 options. So they are going to lose a point there. Now, what I was really happy about, and this was the case in the dog formulas and the puppy, I think the puppy formulas, but for sure the dog formulas, and I am really happy about this, and it does speak to kind of the quality of ingredients that the company is using. The fat, the fiber, the calcium, and the phosphorus were all really good. And so in order for a company to put a lot of protein, even excess amount of proteins, even though we're not happy about that and that's not a great thing, if they put a lot of protein, with that protein, usually, hand in hand and buddy, comes the calcium and phosphorus. And so Raised Right has spent a lot of time and probably a lot of money using protein sources and cleaning those protein sources such that they can have that high protein, but still keep the calcium and phosphorus levels, to what we would like, an optimal level. And so with that in mind, those first 3 options, turkey, chicken, and turkey and pumpkin pate, actually score a 7 out of 10. So a good option, right? Pretty much there's nothing here that I don't like, actually, except for that excessive protein. And so if you find yourself in a pickle and you're like, well, dang, I really wanted to feed this food. You've convinced yourself for whatever reason that you really wanted to feed this food. And now you're saying, well, Dr. A, you really confused me because now you're talking about the protein and you've ruined my day. And that's not my intention. It's still a good food, but just know be informed that if you feed a food that is excessive in protein and you have a cat, every year when that vet says, I really think you should check blood work, you need to consider doing that. Because there will come a time, this is no question, there will come a time when your cat's kidneys are struggling, and you don't want to be on that high protein train when that happens. And so I don't like to worry about things. And so for me, I wouldn't want to worry about that every year. I wouldn't want to be biting my nails waiting on those blood work results. And there's really no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it. So why am I doing it? Why am I putting myself through that worry? So that's my feeling on it. Your feeling may be different. You may be perfectly fine, and for whatever reason, you want to do the excessive protein, or you've talked with your veterinarian and your pet has a condition and they need the excessive protein. That's a totally different case. But that would be my only recommendation, is if you feed this food, realizing and accepting that it's excessive protein and taking the necessary steps to look out for some of the deleterious stuff that may occur because of it. Doesn't mean your cat is going to be forced into kidney disease. Doesn't mean you feed this food, your cat is automatically going to be shut down. It does not mean any of that stuff whatsoever. There are plenty of cats that eat excessive protein foods and live, very many long lives, okay? Just things to consider. And your veterinarian may switch you off this food. If your cat does, develop kidney disease and they find out your food's excessive in protein, they may make a recommendation to switch. They probably will. Most vets will put you on a low protein of food if your cat develops kidney disease. So just keep that in mind, that may happen. Now, the last option is what I would consider to be maybe the best option based on the score alone.
Hey, Dr. Ray.
Yeah.
Dr. Aiden is on line 1 for you.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm at work. I'm working. I'm actually not working because there's a hurricane, so we don't have very many appointments today, but I'm here. I'm available. So yeah, let's get into the last cat one, because it's the one that I was most impressed with. We've got the chicken and pumpkin pate, and as you'll see based on this chart, it scores an 8 out of 10. And so why is that? It's because everything is the same as the other ones, except they were able to get the protein levels down to in the optimal range. There were, again, some conversions that had to occur in order to account for the metabolizable energy. And so if you're just looking at the numbers and you've not done those conversions, that might not be readily apparent to you. But when you do those conversions, and when you use that process and you make sure that the foods are on an even playing field, you will find out that the level is appropriate. And so that is the cat variety from Raised Right. Again, I think they were all pretty darn good options. But the best option, if I had to pick the best one, if this is something you're considering, would be the chicken and pumpkin pate. So I hope you enjoy that. That wraps up our series on Raised Right. And so leave me some comments down below on what brand you would like me to jump into next. I do these on request. So I will see you guys next time.